The question that has to be answered is, at what point does society have the responsibility to protect life? It's just that simple.
When you take a position like that, there's so much that you don't always see. Let's talk about Texas as an example. There's a woman who had to be hooked up to a breathing machine because she had complications with her pregnancy and could not get an abortion. A 10-year-old girl in Ohio was raped and had to cross state lines to get an abortion. That's Ron Johnson's America. The senator would rather make a political point than to do the right thing to protect families and to protect the health of women.
All right, you just heard it. Last night, Wisconsin Lieutenant Governor Mandela Barnes squared off with Trump acolyte Senator Ron Johnson in their first debate in the hotly contested race for U.S. Senate. Now, a recent Marquette Law School poll shows that the race is in a dead heat. Mind-blowing considering where Johnson is. Johnson's campaign has aired a flurry of racist ads attacking Barnes on crime. Meanwhile, Barnes has been focusing on Johnson's anti-abortion stance and is launching his Ron Against Roe tour today. As that launches, he joins me now, the Democratic candidate for U.S. Senate, Wisconsin Lieutenant Governor Mandela Barnes. Mandela, I'm so happy to have you on the show. I saw the debate last night. Very interesting. It's kind of mind-boggling that you guys are in a dead heat. It reminds me of the Herschel Walker, Raphael Warnock dead heat, because Ron Johnson has said some wild things. He's a Trump acolyte. He says things that are not based in fact. So I'm just curious, fresh off of your debate, what's the biggest challenge your campaign is facing right now?
Well, I'll tell you, there's been a flurry of spending, but the reality is we just have to talk to every single voter. The fact that it is a dead heat, given the insane amounts of money that have been poured into this race by his allies, it signals that we are doing the right thing. And this has been a grassroots campaign from the very start. We're continuing to meet people exactly where they are, building coalition from Milwaukee all the way up to Hudson, all the way up to Superior and Bayfield, all points in between. And we are leading with the fact that Ron Johnson has left people behind. Ron Johnson has turned his back on everyday, hardworking Wisconsin people, and his position on abortion is dangerous and out of touch and extreme and out of touch with the 70% of people in this state that think Roe versus Wade should be the law of the land. We have 4 weeks to go. We need all the help we can get. If people can go to mandelabarnes.com and help out, it will go a long way to help us defeat Ron Johnson, to expand the majority, and to protect abortion access once and for all in this country.
Yeah, and I do want to point out you've done some impressive fundraising, raising more than $20 million. And what's interesting about your fundraising numbers is this comes from 500,000 individual donors. So there is energy behind your campaign. I do want our viewers to take a listen to some very interesting things about that Ron Johnson has had to say, because honestly, Mandela, I know this is a part of your campaign and politics are local, but I think this is a larger conversation really around people who claim to support America and those who don't. Take a listen to what Ron Johnson had to say about the insurrection, the attack on the American government just this week, I believe.
There weren't thousands of armed insurrections. I asked the question of the FBI agent at a hearing on this and said, how many firearms were confiscated either in the Capitol or on Capitol grounds? I don't know the answer. For all I know, it's going to be 1,000. No, zero. Zero.
It's really a question of, are you pro-democracy, are you not? Are you pro-America, are you not? He purports to be pro-law enforcement, yet he's defending the people who attacked law enforcement on that day. Why do you think you're having such a challenging time penetrating people who support him, who claim to be patriots?
Well, the reality is Ron Johnson's going to say whatever he wants to say. He's going to say he supports law enforcement, but he turned his back on 140 officers that were injured on January 6th. This happened because he called the election into question, tried to send fake electors to the vice president, saying his involvement lasted a matter of seconds. That's the sort of chaos that ensued because of what Ron Johnson tried to do with the power of his position in the United States Senate. And again, we're talking to folks about the issues that he's also left them behind on when it comes to good paying jobs. When 1,000 jobs that were going to be created in Oshkosh, Wisconsin, when they're slated to go to South Carolina now, his response was, we have enough jobs. He's praised offshoring. He said that it makes sense. Now, these are people in the cities. These are people in rural communities that are getting left behind, regardless of their political beliefs, regardless of their ideology, regardless of how they may even feel about January 6th. We're talking about what puts food on the table and how Ron Johnson is trying to take that opportunity away from folks.
I want to give you a chance, too, because he's trying to paint that you're soft on crime. I mean, that's their new talking point all across the country, quite frankly. I want to give you a chance to clarify some of your positions. He's tried to say, he admitted last night in a debate that you actually never said defund the police. But where do you stand on crime and law enforcement?
Well, we got to do both things, right? Make sure law enforcement has what they need. We also need to do what it takes to prevent crime from happening in the first place. Good schools, good paying jobs, opportunity. You know, when my granddad moved to Milwaukee after World War II, he got a job as a union steel worker. It was a good job in a safe city. But once factories like that closed their doors, we saw a decline in opportunity and a rise in crime and violence. You know, the way things are, they don't have to be this way. They haven't always been this way. We can and have to do more. But it takes leaders who aren't just going to point fingers. We need people who are going to actually lift a finger to do something to help solve the problem. Ron Johnson refuses to do that. Whenever he invokes the city of Milwaukee, it's always to point out how bad he thinks something is. It's never to be a part of the solution. And things are going to continue to get worse if people are playing politics with crime and public safety. But that's all they got. He's going to try to fearmonger all he wants to, but he's completely wrong on this issue.
And the irony is he's saying you're soft on crime while he's actively defending someone who is accused of numerous crimes, from the Oath Keepers to the Proud Boys to former President Donald Trump. So we will certainly keep our eyes close on this race. Good luck to you, Mandela Barnes. We love having you on the Cross Connection, so you're welcome here anytime.